The future of community and marketing is no longer focused on one single place. And in this episode, I want to talk about the omnichannel approach to building marketing communities. Welcome to episode 343 of the Mindful Marketing Podcast, where I help you scroll less, connect more, so that we can grow together. Before we dive into this episode, though, a word from our sponsor. I've recorded over 300 podcast episodes. Yeah, it's a lot of podcast episodes, and I've tried a lot of different virtual recording studios, but my favorite has been Riverside. Riverside makes their virtual recording studio look so profesh. My guests love it. Plus, I also low-key love recording YouTube videos in here as well because it's so easy to use. My team also loves Riverside because it spits out separate audio video tracks, making editing easy breezy, lemon squeezy. And if you want a little magic, they've got this tool called Magic Clips, which uses AI to take your video and turn it into perfect social media sized videos. I'm talking vertical videos for TikTok and Instagram, Facebook Reels, all the places you can post these videos with the captions included. And you don't have to hunt and search for that perfect clip. So if you want to try this out for yourself, click the link that goes with this video, or if you're listening to the audio on the podcast, it's in the show notes, okay? Click that link, use the 15% off coupon code. It's DREA, D-R-E-A, and try Riverside for yourself. Thank you, Riverside. All right, let's talk about community. It is something that I talk about a lot in this podcast because to me, marketing is building communities. And especially in this day and age, here now in 2025, when I think about the power of marketing, a community can make or break you. We have cancel culture, right? So if your community is not backing you, your business can literally go away in a matter of days, because if as a community, they decide not to support you, it can have really big impacts on what you do. The flip side is also true. When people really love you and support you, it can propel your business forward. I talked about this recently in a TikTok video, which it's this idea of positive contagion and negative contagion. So as humans, we have emotions that are very contagious, right? When we get in the room with people who are in the same headspace as us, we kind of feel those emotions ourselves. And the same happens on social media. This is why we so often seek out echo chambers, is because there is an endorphins that's released when we're all on the same page, whether we're all on the same page against someone. Okay, so it's a negative contagion. We're all feeling negative emotions about the same thing. Or we are all on the same page for someone. We are all rallying together in support of someone or something. Both things are very strong emotions as humans. And this is why community can make or break a brand, especially smaller businesses, because when people rally together around us, it could really propel our business forward. But if they're against us, this is where businesses can crumble and break down, especially in an economy that's as volatile as the current one that we are in. So, in my opinion, community is not predicated on a specific platform. Okay, so in the good old days of marketing, you could say, I have a community in a Facebook group, or I'm part of this forum where we all hang out, or I am on Instagram connected into, I don't know, a particular hashtag, right? We could say those things and that would be our community. So for example, I was in the YouTube community back in 2006, 2007. This was when YouTube was in its infancy. And I found my people on YouTube. I was a part of the early days community, not really a consistent creator, which is one of my biggest regrets. I think I posted like a couple videos a year kind of thing, but I was in the comment section. I would watch all my faves. Jenna Marbles being a fave. Yes, she is a icon in the space, right? So I was in the community. I went to the very first VidCon, got to meet all of my people, but there was a particular forum that we spent a lot of time on and where we hung out. And that's actually where I met my husband. So back then, we had a very specific place where YouTube creators would go and hang out, and we would spend time together there, and we would build collabs and things like that. And then we had our YouTube channel, and that was pretty much it. We have our YouTube channel and this forum. Now, when we think about community, our communities are spread out across multiple channels. Some of them are on Instagram, some are on Facebook. Some of them only read our email, some of them only listen to our podcasts. More often than not, they're in multiple places. They listen to the podcast for one thing, they check your email for another, and then they see your posts on Instagram, but they never log into, I don't know, Blue Sky, so they never see you over there, right? So that is a great example of how community is now an omni-channel thing. Okay, it's an omni-channel thing. Thus, if I can say that, it sounds so proper. When I think about marketing as a small business, it is no longer vital to be on one platform and one platform alone. And this was a very common practice, even as early as 5 years ago, where if someone came to me and they said, I only want to be on Instagram, I'd be like, yeah, cool, let's do it. Only Instagram is great. We can build out a mini funnel and we could sell out your offer. That is very challenging to almost impossible to do here now and today, just with the nature of how we all interact with marketing and how we all interact in this digital space. And a lot of the progress that we're seeing in digital marketing, a lot of it is from the pandemic and the effect that it had on the progress that we were making as a technology. Like, technology is advancing at hyperspeed. It has never moved this quickly before. Think about it. ChatGPT existed and came into be in November of 2023, y'all. November of 2023. Like, we're in February of 2025 at the time of recording this, and I use ChatGPT every day. Like, literally this morning, I was like, hey, here's an idea that I have for a package. Can you be really mean and tell me that this is a bad idea? Like, this is how I use ChatGPT every day. And so the way that we're using marketing is moving so quickly. And this idea of like a decentralized community is something that's becoming more and more popular. And it's not only for smaller brands, big brands are doing this too. There is Lululemon is a great example of this. They have a campaign called Sweat With Us, where it's not a campaign on any particular channel. Okay. They don't just go, come to this location and we're going to run together or work out together, or you have to be in our Facebook group to come sweat with us. No, it is a campaign. They have omni-channel. It's in their email. It's, printed on materials in stores. It is on their Instagram. It is in their private community spaces. It's everywhere. And so they're not solely relying on, building out a Facebook group where their most loyal fans live, which is a strategy I used to teach, back in the day. They're relying on the slogan of the campaign having its own legs, and they're believing that their community members are smart enough to figure out what the campaign is wherever they are. And then they use savvy marketing to be able to communicate the values of that campaign. Thus allowing people to join in the campaign wherever they are in their process. Okay. So it doesn't matter if they are new to Lululemon, or if they are, they've been a Lululemon fan for years and years. Doesn't matter if they're solely a Facebook group user, or if they're like sometimes on Instagram, sometimes on Threads. They can participate in the Sweat With Us challenge wherever they are. And I think this is a huge, huge thing to know as a business owner headed into 2025, is that if you are on one platform and one platform alone, it can be very challenging to grow as a business owner. So I want to encourage you to embrace this omni-channel strategy. Here's what it looks like. As I'm saying this, I do recognize that doing everything at once is overwhelming. Okay. So I don't recommend just trying everything all at once, unless you have all the time in the world, which, go for you if that's you. But if not, take a phased approach. Okay, we're going to start with one platform, usually your signature content piece. Then we're going to layer in supporting content pieces. Then we're going to layer in your attraction strategy. Okay, so if we're thinking about the marketing ecosystem, you want to layer these in. But an omni-channel community and an omni-channel marketing strategy includes different platforms. Now, these different platforms are all weighted differently. I'm not saying that they're all equally as important, okay? They have different levels of importance, but all of those levels have a unique purpose and they serve a unique purpose to your community. And it allows you as the business owner to go where your community members are, fish where the fish are. I think I said this either in a workshop recently or on this podcast. Like sometimes we fight so hard. We're like swimming upriver, if I'm going to use the fish analogy again. We're swimming upriver, we're fighting so hard as if we're going where the fish are, right? Fish where the fish are. If your people are hanging out on Threads, you hang out on Threads too, okay? I do still recommend having a couple of home-based spots, and this is where I can consider a lot of your signature content pieces, but also having internal marketing home bases as well. So I'll use my business as an example of this. My signature content is my podcast. This here podcast where you're listening, it is where I spend the most effort, time, and energy when it comes to my marketing. It's where when people come into my world, they say, when they join the lab, the Mindful Marketing Lab, they say, oh, I listened to your podcast for years and then I knew I had to join, right? And so for me, it is the number one way that people get into my world. Secondarily, almost equal of importance is my email newsletter. I actually have more people on my email newsletter than any of my social media channels. So for me, when I look at my email newsletter, it is very important to me to nurture and communicate to that community and that group of people. That is not to say there are people who listen to the podcast and never read the email. Sometimes that happens. There are people who listen to the podcast, they never open a single email. There are people who read all my emails, they never listen to a single podcast episode. So there's a lot of crossover in content there. But I know that's where my most supportive community members are. Secondarily, I have my secondary content pieces, which are social media and my YouTube channel. So a lot of those serve unique purposes. A lot of it is communication based. I love to be in the comment section, in my DMs, have conversations with people. This is how I build communities, but I don't force people into a certain particular channel. I kind of go where they already are. Okay, so when we think about this in terms of your business, some of the questions that I want you to ask yourself is what is your signature piece of content? What is the one thing that you want to be known for? And then what does your supporting content strategy look like? How can those other channels support you? Now, I mentioned internal marketing as well. So I do have an actual community space for all of my clients and customers and where all my members hang out. It's in Circle, which I love, by the way. If you're looking for like an all-in-one community tool, Circle is the best. I just love that. Maybe I'll do some videos on YouTube about that. But anyways, that point aside, I have a community space for my clients and customers. However, in the Mindful Marketing Lab Pro, so there's a pro level to the lab where if you are a marketing professional, I give you even more support. You get unlimited voice access to me. There's a lot of stuff in there, but the voice access is key because I've had a couple members say they don't like using Circle and we want to go back to Voxer, which is what I was using before. So old Andrea would be like, no, we have to use Circle. That's the tool. That's the place where we are. But between you and I don't really care. I don't care. As long as they're using the space, I'll meet you on Voxer. That's fine. I have all my notifications turned off anyways. So I just set up a little Asana task so that I don't forget to check Voxer instead of Circle. And away we go. I'm able to maintain and retain my community members more by being open to this omni-channel thing. Like, yes, all of our courses are in Circle. All of our live streams are in Circle. All of our conversations, our member resources, they're all in Circle. But if my community member comes to me and they say, actually, Voxer is easier, cool, let's use Voxer. I talk to my friends on there all the time anyways, okay? So this is where you fish where the fish are. So a few other tools that will help you with this is I do love a good scheduling tool when you are scheduling out your content to multiple channels, specifically social media channels. I recommend Metricool, and I'll put that link with the show notes as well. I also recommend Airtable for content planning. Y'all know I love Airtable. I have a bunch of videos on my YouTube about Airtable. It is how I plan out my omni-channel content marketing strategy, my marketing ecosystem. It's how I know when I need to record podcasts, when to send out emails, when the social posts are happening, and to make sure everything is organized so that everything still flows together but is spaced out. And then I also love to use, I use a combination of Airtable and Metricool for tracking and analytics as well. Okay, so what channels are having the most impact right now? What channels are growing? Which ones are stagnant? That sort of thing. And what I will say about this entire process is it can be very illuminating. So about a year and a half ago, I left X/Twitter completely, basically a couple months after Elon Musk purchased it. I believe like 8 or 9 months after Musk purchased Twitter, I left the platform. And part of that decision is because I was using this omnichannel strategy. Okay, I was posting in multiple places. Twitter had the least amount of engagement and it was steadily going down. And I was noticing like my community members there were not growing, like it wasn't growing as a community. And so for me, to make the decision to leave the platform was very helpful. So while I do recommend this omni-channel strategy, I'm not recommending you have to be on all the channels all the time. I'm just saying having multiple channels is in your benefit right now, especially with the uncertainty with some of our faves. Like, hello, TikTok, are we still going to be a thing by the summer? Please be a thing by the summer. I love you. Okay. So my encouragement for you as you listen to this episode is I want you to take an audit of your community space. And by audit, I don't get lost in the details here. I just want you to take a look at the places where you spend time and the places where your community members are talking to you. Okay. Are they reaching out to you there? And do you have a presence there? For example, I was talking with one of my mentees recently about this, how she loves Instagram, loves being on Instagram. Instagram's her jam, but she posted the same thing to Instagram and LinkedIn got way higher quality of engagement. And so while she likes Instagram and she'll continue posting there, her people are on LinkedIn. And so simple shift in her strategy for this year is to spend a little more time on LinkedIn than she does at Instagram. She's not abandoning it. But it's not a big focus for her, or as big of a focus as it was in the past, because she actually looked at the data and she used this omni-channel strategy to her benefit. Okay. She's just adjusting and shifting as her community members around her adjust and shift as well. So do your audit, look at your different channels and see where people are reaching out to you, and use quantitative things here, right? Or qualitative things here. I don't want you to say, oh, I got 10 messages on Instagram and 2 on LinkedIn, therefore Instagram's better. Look at those messages. People in these internet streets are so notorious for sending absolute spam trash in the DMs. Okay. So if you got 10 DMs on Insta, but 9 of them are spam, we're not going to count those. And if the other one's from your mom, doesn't count. And in LinkedIn, the 2 DMs are actually people going, hey, I saw your post, I really liked it. Or someone connected me with you because I think we could work together. LinkedIn would be a better option for you in this case. Okay. So I want you to take a look at the kind of data that's tough to see in a spreadsheet and see where your community members are reaching out to you. With that in mind, I will leave you to think on that, but I also want to invite you to join me in the Mindful Marketing Lab. If anything I said here today really resonated with you and you're like, yes, I'm ready to do this, I'm ready to start this, but help, I need some more support, the lab is for you. Yes, I have courses on a lot of our favorite platforms. I'm talking Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Clubhouse even, which is oddly making a comeback right now. My Threads workshop. If you really want to dive into any of these particular categories, I have support for you. But the best part of the lab is you get unlimited strategy support. Yeah, unlimited. That means you can ask as many questions as you want and get my strategic little brain on everything that you do. And then, of course, you can jump into any of our group sessions. Coming up right after this, we've got 2 LinkedIn sessions following up our LinkedIn challenge about LinkedIn ads, LinkedIn video, all of the things that you want to learn about LinkedIn in 2025. And then we also have some special guest experts this month as well, talking about SEO, as well as our content collaboration lab that we do every month as well. So come on in and join us. The water is fine and we have a lot of fun in the lab. I hope to see you there. Tune in next week because we have another podcast for you. Jen Zellers is going to be on the show talking to us about sustainable visibility, which is so exciting and I love it. I'm excited for it. I will see you then. In the meantime, make sure you give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Helps keep us in the top 100 marketing podcasts. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.